I'm very tired of all of the lies. I've been hearing things and seeing things on the blogs, and I'm just...
This conviction is the latest in a long line of prosecutions by this office to protect women and vulnerable minors from predators.
Did you hear the latest buzz about R. Kelly? The disgraced R&B icon is back in the headlines, and not for a new song, that's for sure. Word on the street is that he's cooking up a plan that could shake the entertainment world to its core. Rumor has it Kelly is so desperate to escape his decades-long prison sentence that he might just be ready to spill the tea on some of the music industry's biggest names. And guess who's reportedly at the top of his list? None other than Sean Diddy, Combs. Yes, you heard that right. This could be the biggest twist in the ongoing saga of R. Kelly's legal nightmares. But let's break it down, shall we? First, let's talk about where things stand with R. Kelly. The man behind chart-topping hits like Ignition and I Believe I Can Fly has been grounded in a prison cell since his damning convictions in New York and Chicago. In case you missed it, Kelly's rap sheet is as long as his career once was glittering. He was sentenced to 30 years for racketeering and for orchestrating an elaborate network to manipulate and control vulnerable individuals. On top of that, he was slapped with another 20 years for additional offenses, though most of that time overlaps with his initial sentence. Essentially, unless something drastic happens, Kelly's days in the free world are over. Or are they?
Attorneys for disgraced Chicago musician R. Kelly have filed a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court to review his conviction for federal crimes.
Kelly's legal team has been busy appealing his convictions, trying every possible angle to get him out, or at least shave some years off his time. Earlier this year, his appeal to overturn the New York case was denied by the U.S. Second Circuit Court of Appeals. They didn't mince words in their ruling, stating that Kelly's arguments were without merit. Ouch. Jennifer Bongian, Kelly's attorney, called the decision unprecedented and hinted at taking the fight all the way to the highest court in the land, the U.S. Supreme Court. Talk about aiming high.
R&B star R. Kelly is fighting to overturn his conviction that sent him to prison for 30 years. His attorneys argue federal prosecutors in Brooklyn failed to prove Kelly's acts were part of a criminal enterprise.
But here's where things get really juicy. According to whispers circulating in legal and entertainment circles, Kelly might be looking at another way to lighten his sentence. Rumor has it he's considering cooperating with federal authorities. Yes, the same man who once sang about flying believes the only way up now is through singing a different tune, one that involves exposing others. And apparently he's not aiming low. Allegedly, Kelly's got information on some serious players in the industry, and Sean Diddy, Combs, is reportedly in his crosshairs. Now, this wouldn't be the first time Kelly's name has been linked to explosive claims. His legal battles have been dragging on for years, exposing a dark side to the music industry that fans never imagined. From his infamous 1994 marriage to a then underage Aaliyah, to the accusations that followed him like a shadow for decades, Kelly's history is a cautionary tale about fame gone terribly wrong. But despite his downfall, it seems Kelly believes he still holds cards that could be played in his favor. And if these rumors about his potential cooperation are true, he might just be planning to cash in his chips.
What they experienced at his hands, or the threats and harassment they faced in telling the truth about what happened to them. We hope that today's verdict brings some measure of comfort and closure to the victims.
So what's the deal with the Diddy connection? Let's not forget, Sean Combs has been making headlines of his own lately, and not for his business ventures or music. The music mogul, once celebrated for his flashy lifestyle and golden touch in the industry, has been facing some serious allegations that have landed him in hot water. And while the full details of Kelly's supposed revelations remain unclear, insiders suggest he might have information that could connect the dots in ways that would make even the most seasoned lawyers sweat.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
But before we dive deeper into what Kelly might know, let's circle back to his current situation. The courts have been relentless in shutting down his appeals, leaving him seemingly out of options. His team has argued that the use of the racketeering statute in his case was overreaching, claiming it was designed to target organized crime syndicates, not individuals. This decision paves the way for prosecutorial abuse of the RICO statute. Bonjour said after the appeal was denied. But the courts weren't buying it, pointing out that Kelly's network of managers, assistants, and enforcers operated like a well-oiled machine for over 25 years, enabling his crimes. And let's not forget the restitution payments to his victims, which have been another point of contention. Kelly's team even argued about the costs of medication ordered for victims, claiming the payouts were excessive. The courts, however, weren't having any of it, stating firmly that Kelly's actions led to these consequences and he would have to pay the price. Literally, all of this paints a picture of a man who's cornered, desperate, and running out of time. And when people feel trapped, they sometimes resort to drastic measures. Could this be why Kelly is reportedly considering flipping on others in the industry? If true, it's a move that would not only be shocking, but could also redefine how we view some of the most celebrated figures in music. Kelly has already been painted as a villain, but if he were to start exposing others, the focus could shift dramatically. And let's be real, the idea of someone like Diddy being dragged into this mess would send shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond.
Yeah, today it was the chance of R. Kelly's victims, many who have been, talking about this for years. I mean, this is allegations that have gone on for 3 decades, essentially, since he was a rising force and one of the most successful R&B stars of.
But why Diddy, you ask? Well, for one, the timing of these rumors is suspiciously close to the mounting legal troubles that Combs is facing. Over the last year, allegations against Diddy have been piling up like a stack of unanswered subpoenas. From accusations of exploitation to claims of misconduct that span years, Diddy's once shiny image has taken a serious hit. And while he's denied wrongdoing and vowed to fight the charges, the court of public opinion hasn't been so kind.
I mean, that fact in of itself is a big deal, because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the...
It's worth noting that both Kelly and Diddy hail from the same era of music dominance, where larger-than-life personas often masked the darker realities behind the scenes. Could Kelly have been privy to things about Diddy that the rest of the world doesn't know? Was there a hidden network of secrets that some of the industry's biggest names worked hard to keep buried? If Kelly has the answers, you can bet the FBI would be interested in hearing them. Of course, this is all speculation for now. Neither Kelly nor his legal team has confirmed any cooperation with authorities, and Diddy's camp has firmly denied all allegations against him. But the possibility alone is enough to keep fans and critics alike glued to the latest developments. After all, the idea of one fallen star potentially taking down another is the kind of drama that keeps headlines buzzing and social media feeds scrolling. As it stands, Kelly is still behind bars, facing the reality of spending what could be the rest of his life locked away. But if these rumors about his potential deal with the feds turn out to be true, it could mark a turning point in his story and in the stories of others who've long managed to dodge accountability. For now, we're left to wonder, is R. Kelly really ready to play the role of whistleblower? And if so, what secrets might he reveal? And more importantly, what could it mean for Sean Diddy Combs and the music industry at large? And with that, we segue into the next chapter of this unfolding saga. Could Diddy's own legal troubles be connected to whatever Kelly might be hinting at? Or is this just another desperate ploy by a man with nothing left to lose? Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. Let's not waste any time and dive straight into the heart of this storm, where Sean Diddy Combs finds himself at the center of some of the most shocking allegations to rock the entertainment world. If R. Kelly's situation wasn't messy enough, the possibility that he might be ready to hand over information about Diddy has set the rumor mill ablaze. But the truth is, Diddy doesn't need extra help finding himself under scrutiny. His own legal troubles have already painted a picture of chaos and controversy that has everyone asking, how much of this can possibly be true?
Still pretty early in the proceedings. I think it's only been about a month or a month and a half since he's been arraigned and held in detention. And so the investigations are always going to be a continuous and ongoing process. I'm sure at this point there's been an exchange of discovery. And not only that, but I think there's been a gag order placed on the attorneys with information that they can and cannot share. But more importantly,
for years, Diddy was the golden boy of hip-hop and business. From chart-topping hits to running bad boy records, he seemed untouchable, a mogul with a Midas touch. But that image has now been cracked wide open. His current legal nightmare began with a series of jaw-dropping accusations that appeared to snowball overnight. starting with a civil suit filed by none other than Cassie, his former longtime partner. Cassie's claims were enough to make headlines around the world, but what followed was an avalanche of allegations from multiple individuals. And let's just say they paint a picture of someone very different from the polished, charismatic entrepreneur we thought we knew.
We're monitoring another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for years.
Cassie's lawsuit was a bombshell. She accused Diddy of years of mistreatment during their high-profile relationship, making claims so unsettling that the public was left in collective shock. The accusations were horrifying, detailing control, manipulation, and acts that left a permanent mark on her life. Though Diddy quickly settled the case, the damage to his reputation was already done. The settlement raised even more questions than it answered. Was it an admission of guilt, or was he simply trying to put the matter to rest and avoid further media frenzy? Whatever the truth is, one thing was clear. This was only the beginning. Not long after, more lawsuits began to roll in, each one more shocking than the last. Within weeks, individuals from different periods of Diddy's life came forward with their own accounts, alleging behavior that spanned decades. From former associates to individuals who claimed to have crossed paths with him during his rise to fame, the stories just kept piling up. And then came the federal indictment. And this wasn't just about civil claims anymore. Diddy was now facing criminal charges that could potentially put him behind bars for the rest of his life. The accusations against him ranged from misconduct to allegations of running a full-blown operation to further his own twisted agenda. If convicted, the outcome would be catastrophic for the once gilded star.
Then if he does, this new, quote, robust bail package, you can avoid and evade. And he is very connected with people that can help him avoid and evade. I'm not saying he will, but I would be surprised if the court grants him a bond. When the federal government wants you detained, you are normally detained, and here it was a very far-reaching situation that he was involved.
What makes this situation even more surreal is the fact that Diddy's public persona has always been one of charm and resilience. This is a man who built an empire, weathered scandals, and seemed to grow stronger with every challenge. But now, the mask appears to be slipping. The charges against him paint a picture of someone who allegedly used his wealth and influence to manipulate those around him. The federal indictment accuses Diddy of creating an environment where individuals were coerced, threatened, and controlled, all while projecting an image of power and success to the outside world.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, their legal documents, the government's saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why is Diddy's name suddenly being linked to R. Kelly's alleged deal with the feds? If the rumors are to be believed, Kelly might have information that could connect some of the dots in Diddy's case. While there's no concrete evidence yet, the timing of Kelly's supposed willingness to cooperate with authorities and the mounting allegations against Diddy is at the very least suspicious. Some speculate that Kelly could be looking to leverage whatever knowledge he has about Diddy's alleged activities to gain favor with prosecutors. If true, it's a move that could send shockwaves through the industry.
That's it. If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says, that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't expect it.
Diddy's legal team, of course, has been working overtime to combat these accusations. They've repeatedly denied all claims, calling them baseless and part of an orchestrated effort to take him down. But the court of public opinion doesn't seem to be siding with Diddy. Social media has been ablaze with commentary, from fans expressing disbelief to critics claiming they saw this coming all along. And then there are the conspiracy theories, some suggesting that Diddy's downfall is part of a larger scheme, while others believe it's karma catching up with him. Adding fuel to the fire are the reports surrounding Diddy's multiple attempts to secure bail. Since his arrest in September, he's been held in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, and let's just say, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Despite offering an eye-watering bail package that included home detention, 24/7 security and even surrendering his passports, the judge wasn't convinced. In fact, Diddy's requests have been denied not once, not twice, but 4 times. The reasoning? Prosecutors argue that he poses a risk to the community and could potentially tamper with witnesses. And if the rumors about his jailhouse behavior are to be believed, this might not be far from the truth.
Both sides in the Sean Diddy Combs case have until today to give answers for how the music mogul has been communicating from jail. Combs appearing in court last Friday seeking bail while he awaits trial. He's been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September.
According to court filings, Diddy has allegedly been using his connections to orchestrate campaigns aimed at swaying public opinion and intimidating witnesses. Prosecutors claim they've found notes in his possession that suggest plans to discredit his accusers and manipulate the narrative in his favor. Diddy's team, of course, denies these allegations, calling them part of a smear campaign, but the judge's repeated refusals to grant bail suggest that the court isn't buying his defense. At least not yet.
This is video of Diddy's family arriving to court for last Friday's hearing. Prosecutors arguing that he misused prison systems in an attempt to tamper with potential witnesses. And they say they have proof Diddy used other inmates' phone cards or used 3-way calls with friends to contact associates that prosecutors consider to be a part.
And this brings us back to R. Kelly. If Kelly's rumored cooperation with authorities includes information about Diddy, it could spell even more trouble for the embattled mogul. The connection between the two men isn't entirely clear, but both have operated in the same circles, and their paths have undoubtedly crossed over the years. Could Kelly be holding on to secrets that Diddy would rather keep buried? Or is this just another case of a desperate man trying to save himself by throwing others under the bus? Either way, the implications are staggering. But here's where things get even more complicated. Diddy's story isn't just about legal battles. It's about the unraveling of a legacy. For decades, he was seen as a pioneer, someone who broke barriers and redefined what it meant to be a mogul in the entertainment industry. His influence extended beyond music, shaping fashion, culture, and even politics. To see that legacy now overshadowed by these allegations is a stark reminder of how quickly things can change.
Live, a judge has denied bail for Sean Diddy Combs. Of course, this was the hip-hop mogul's latest bid for freedom as he remains in federal jail for his racketeering and trafficking case.
And yet, there are still those who stand by Diddy, insisting that he's the victim of a witch hunt. His hardcore supporters argue that the accusations are exaggerated or outright false, pointing to his charitable work and the opportunities he's created for others. But as more stories emerge, even his staunchest supporters are finding it harder to ignore the growing mountain of claims against him. What happens next is anyone's guess. With Diddy's trial set for next year and Kelly's potential cooperation hanging in the balance, the stage is set for one of the most explosive showdowns in recent memory. If Kelly does have information that could implicate Diddy, it raises questions about who else might be caught in the crossfire. After all, the entertainment industry has long been a breeding ground for secrecy and scandal, and this could be just the tip of the iceberg.
Not buying it all, Kana, and safety can mean a couple different things. Safety just doesn't mean free from harm of violence. Safety can also too mean emotional and mental dynamics that could occur by Sean Combs reaching out to potential witness to get them to possibly change their.
And so we're left with more questions than answers. Is Diddy guilty of the crimes he's been accused of, or is he the victim of circumstances beyond his control? Is R. Kelly really willing to play the role of informant? And if so, what does he stand to gain? And perhaps most importantly, what does all of this say about an industry that has allowed these kinds of stories to fester for so long? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more celebrity news and analysis.